We're flying from London to Malta, and the final cruise of my stay is about to happen. It's entitled Sail the Three Seas, and what better place to start than a great favourite, Malta. Arriving by plane, we were soon whisked off to Valletta, and the ancient port where we would embark upon our ship. Already history is all around. Even immigration and customs shrouded in history. Nate understandably excited as we start another adventure.
We have arrived and going to explore Valletta, and it's very hot, 32.
Our ship is the P&O Cruise ship Souda. This is my first cruise on P&O. How will it compare to Marella? We shall see. Certainly a great welcome. Balcony cabin is spacious, and as we look out we have a great view of this ancient city, and we're looking forward to seeing the place again. But we decided to first have lunch, and what better way than roast beef and Yorkshire pudding and shepherd's pie. First impression of this ship is that it's excellent. We were certainly given a great welcome. For me, one of the joys of Mediterranean cities is the history. Many places having beautiful buildings and architecture, and amazing stories behind it all. Not least the island of Malta, both in recent times and also in medieval times. Even the stroll from the port into the city is scenic and interesting. A giant lift takes us from sea level to the center of Valletta. Up and away, and already enjoying the experience. Doing things we didn't do on our last trip. When we walk out onto the promenade above, fantastic views of the harbour. Every city has a story to tell, but surely the history of Malta will top most places. It's only 10 in the morning, not a cloud in the sky, and stretching before us the famous Grand Harbour of Valletta. The cannon pointing out to sea that are fired on special occasions. Certainly a great view from up here. And so we stroll into the city. For me, the whole of Valletta appears to have this historic feel to it, almost like we're walking back in time. The traditional sandstone buildings adding to the effect, intricate, majestic architecture adding to the experience. Their founder honored, Jean de Valletta, after whom Valletta is named, the respected Grand Master of the Order of St. John. So we stroll into this wonderful city. It's great to be back. First things first, a drink.
Well, we are very hot and thirsty, so deciding to have a two for one drink. Here we are, sweet lime soda with mint.
There are some extraordinary restaurants and places here. Brought back a lot of memories for us. I was here in 1970. I clearly remember the Phoenician Hotel. In those days it was very expensive. The hotel in which we stayed in 1970 was superb and included breakfast, lunch and dinner. And I distinctly remember lunch was a 5-course meal and dinner was a 7-course affair. Those were the days, my friend. The trouble with being on a cruise ship is that time passes so quickly. And right now, we're in an Uber taking the scenic route back to the ship. It's only been a short interlude, but very enjoyable. We must return again. Our sadness of leaving so quickly is tempered by our anticipation of visiting such places as Athens, Crete, and Santorini, to name a few. So we're happy. This is gonna be fun. After dinner, we sail away through this historic harbor, as many have done, into our adventure. After a splendid day in Malta, we now have a relaxing day at sea that will help us to recover from the journey out here. We have a leisurely breakfast with the usual view. And then another cup of coffee.
Coffee time.
The day at sea gives us an opportunity to explore the ship. Then we have a quiet time on the balcony. After which we have lunch. Well, we're back in the room and about to unpack the suitcase. It's the day at sea. We've just had a meal and taking it easy today. We're sailing east across the Mediterranean Sea to the island of Mykonos in Greece. I'm particularly excited as I was here with Rachel last month and we thoroughly enjoyed Mykonos. The day at sea on a cruise ship is always a special time. So as the sun sets, we can just relax, enjoy the beautiful ocean, and get ready for our shore excursion tomorrow. Next day, the usual breakfast and a second coffee. Then a big problem. Well, unfortunately, Mykonos was cancelled because of high winds. Not much evidence of it, but the ship could not get into dock. So we're now another day at sea and passing the Greek islands over there. So we have another day at sea. Have a look at what's going on in the ship. There are many quiet places to relax, but I'm not enjoying this day. I had really hoped that Nathan would be able to see Mykonos. This morning in Mykonos, when we were told the venue had been cancelled, I was very disappointed, as there didn't appear to be much wind. When I inquired, I was told that the port of Mykonos was a difficult port to get into. C'est la vie. As we continue and sail east, we pass many small Greek islands. So I took a stroll around the ship and got a few shots of it. People relaxing, the weather excellent. So I take a stroll around the ship while Nate relaxed on the balcony. Tomorrow we'll be in Crete. So as the sun sets, we can just relax, enjoy the beautiful ocean, and get ready for our shore excursion tomorrow. Next day we arrive on the historic Greek island of Crete. It's the 10th of July, and I was actually here with Rachel on the 15th of June. Nevertheless, I'm pleased to be back, as I'm sure Nate will enjoy a day here. A great breakfast as usual, with good views out the window. We then take a stroll around the ship. And then catch a bus into town. Chania is an old Venetian port, the site of the ancient Minoan settlement the Greeks called Kydonia, mentioned in Homer's Odyssey, and was ruled at different times by powers that understood its strategic importance, such as the Byzantines, the Arabs, the Ottomans, the Venetians, and the Germans in World War II. Since the 1990s, the city has prospered, and it's now a flourishing tourist resort. The fountain in Eleftheros Venizelos Square, the center of town. Horse and carriage rides being a favorite as they take tourists for a trip around the port. When we were there, a 15-minute ride cost €20. The harbor, a focal point. The actual Souda Bay being on the other side of the isthmus. The mosque here was built on the grounds of a former church, using parts of that building. This is built by the Ottomans, the mosque, the oldest Ottoman mosque in Crete, and yet nobody converted to Islam, so it was never used. We enjoyed just strolling around the harbor. Historic places all around. The horse and carriages adding to the atmosphere of the place. Remnants of its historic past all around, though the bombing of the civilian town by the Germans in World War II, typical of their barbarism. The ruins exist to this day. It's also a popular place for visiting yachts. There are several interesting historic sites around the harbour to explore. One can hire a bike, or take a trip in a mini submarine, or simply do some shopping. Nate met a fellow moustache connoisseur.
This is Nate's friend of the moustache. Yeah. Have you waxed it this morning?
Yeah, I put the gel.
Gel.
So enjoy the sights with me. We enjoyed our walk around, remembering my time with Rachel, but also happy that I was able to bring Nate here. These times when I can hang out with my kids are very precious. It's strange that we often live our lives without doing things like this. So we really enjoyed our walk around, reminiscing.
I was here about a month ago with Rachel. The weather was the same except that it was not windy at that time. And we're walking a little more than we did on that occasion, enjoying it.
I got shaky hands.
Memory in Souda.
Now it's time for a drink. Orange juice, €2. Espresso, €1.30. Strange name, the House of Fart. Then another stroll around the harbour. The harbour is a delightful scenic part of the old town and a pleasure just to stroll around. There are many things that one can do here, but we simply chose to take it easy and have a relaxing day. It's very easy when on a cruise to run around all day sightseeing and missing out the opportunity to relax a little. So I always try to find a compromise between the two, so that we're able to relax as we do our sightseeing. Seems like we're not the only ones. One thing I love about Chania Harbour is that the sea comes right up to the wall. When it gets a little rough, it's enjoyable to watch, as though it's dancing. The sea right next to the sea wall is not very deep, so there are no boats moored on this part of the harbour. I wanted to show Nate the Faircus Fortress, but unfortunately it was closed today as it was a Sunday. On this visit, one thing I pondered about was that I'd brought both Rachel and Nathan here and made a memory. It's a great joy to travel, but when we can travel with our grown-up kids, it's very special. Being here with my next generation reminds me of Homer, the Iliad. Like the generation of leaves, the lives of mortal men. Now the wind scatters the old leaves across the earth. Now with the new buds, and spring comes round again. And so with men. As one generation comes to life, another dies away. So Nate, make sure you bring the kids here when they're older and celebrate life. What's special about Crete is ancient. Homer in the Odyssey, about 3,000 years ago, describes it. And now we walk here. There is a land called Crete, in the midst of the wine-dark sea, a fair, rich land, begirt with water, and therein are many men, past counting, and 90 cities. They have not all the same speech, but their tongues are mixed. There dwell Achaeans, there great-hearted native Cretans, there Sidonians, and Dorians of waving plumes, and goodly Pelasgians. Among their cities is the great city Knossos, where Minos reigned when 9 years old, he that held converse with great Zeus. Today, we walk where history walked. We then strolled back through the town, passing the fountain and the square. It was actually quite a busy day, maybe because it's Sunday, or that there's a cruise ship in town. Passing the Greek Orthodox Church, a beautiful building, and the doors open today. Nate has to buy gifts for Amy and the kids, and so we take a little time to see what's on sale. We're actually making our way back to catch the bus, and we have to walk the full length of the main street, so it gives Nate an opportunity to check out the gifts. But at the same time, it's interesting. Back to the square, catch the bus. Indeed, another fun day on the planet. The ship awaits us. After such a day, it's a pleasure to get back, take a shower, get ready for dinner, and watch the ship sail away. When we wake up tomorrow, we shall be in the ancient port of Piraeus and visit Athens and the Parthenon.
We are in the ancient port of Piraeus, about to take a bus and go up to Athens, where we'll see the Parthenon and amphitheaters and the history. Really looking forward to it.
This is my second visit to Athens. My first visit was in 2019 with Professor Alex, and I was very impressed, especially by the Parthenon. It's another sunny day, and I'm looking forward to showing Nate this remarkable city. We finally decided to take an Uber to Athens. The taxi dropped us right at the foot of the Acropolis, and we began to walk up. Passing the magnificent amphitheater, and also getting great views of the city. I clearly remember the last time I walked onto the Acropolis. It's an awesome experience as we walk in. There is a sense in which the ascent to the Acropolis is the most moving part of the experience. And no wonder. The Panathenaia was a multi-day ancient Greek festival held annually in Athens that culminated with a great religious procession of over 1,000 people up to the Acropolis on the last day of the festival, when Athenians would make sacrifices to the goddess Athena. So Nate and I followed the route of the procession. When we finally see the Parthenon, it's surrounded by a multitude. Erected between 447 and 438 BC, the Parthenon is the icon of ancient Greece and is the most famous landmark in the country. Not surprisingly, from here there are amazing views all around. Nearby, the old Temple of Athena. It was indeed an amazing experience to be here on such a day as this and enjoy the sights. Structures that are over 2,400 years old. Dedicated to the goddess Athena, the Parthenon is the most symbolic Doric-style temple of Greece. Much restoration has been done and continues to be done. The Golden Age of Athens was a period of peace and prosperity that lasted between 460 and 430 BC. During this period, Pericles ordered the construction and restoration of a series of magnificent temples and buildings on the Acropolis. The Parthenon follows the dimensions of a golden rectangle and is a shape that is most pleasing to the eye. We need to understand that today, the Greek columns and statues are plain, but 2,500 years ago, they were colorfully painted. Indeed, in the Acropolis Museum nearby, one can see some of the Parthenon sculptures on display, which still retain some of their original colorings. The Parthenon served multiple purposes over the years. In addition to it being a Greek temple, it was at one time a treasury. In the 6th century AD, it was converted into a Christian church. Until in the 1460s, the Ottomans converted it into a mosque. In 1687, it was destroyed by the Venetians with a direct hit from a cannonball when they were attacking the Ottomans encamped on the Acropolis. The Ottomans were using it to store ammunition. My imagination runs wild in places like this. Nate's probably having thoughts of what happened here over the centuries, even over millennia. The Acropolis afforded great views of the sanctuary of Dionysus below. From this viewpoint, the extent of the theatre of Dionysus can be appreciated. It covered the whole hillside behind it and had an estimated 17,000 capacity. So we will head into the city, as Nathan has something special he wants to do. So we make our way down into the city. The special thing that Nathan wants to do, he wants to have a cup of coffee. So we make our way off the Acropolis and down to a place where we can pick up an Uber. It's just a few minutes' ride, and we get to see some interesting parts of Athens. Our destination, the Taff Coffee Shop, right in the heart of Athens. Nathan has done his research on Athens coffee shops and was looking forward to having a great cup of coffee here.
Oh yeah, what is the actual African?
That's the Ethiopian.
Ethiopian coffee. The coffee was superb, and it really made Nathan's day. And after a refill or two, we headed into the city. I suppose it's like any big city, but it certainly had a Greek flavor to it. Palm trees, al fresco cafes, and reminders of its ancient past. The Omonia Square had a round water fountain in its center. Unfortunately, it was not switched on at the time that we were here. It's known as the navel of Athens and Greece. The central railway station of Athens is actually below the square here. Were we to catch the train back to Piraeus, we could do so from here. So Nate and I spent a little time getting some good shots. That's the entrance to the railway station. Nathan is ordering an Uber, and we are soon on our way back to the ship. A great day. Then a leisurely sail away, standing on the balcony, talking about our day. What an enjoyable day it's been. Tomorrow, the amazing island of Santorini, Greece. I just love it when we go to bed in one place and wake up in another. Last night we left Athens. Today we arrived in Santorini, one of the most beautiful islands in the whole world. The ship moored out in the caldera, and we got the tender to the shore. I decided that it was an appropriate time to use the 360 camera. It gives a little variety to the film. A great shot of the ship. And an even more amazing shot of the tender. Believe it or not, here Nate is holding the camera. This is his shot. Welcome to the world of 360. and welcome to Santorini. This is my third trip here, and believe it or not, I was here last month with Rachel. So we got our cable car tickets and got ready to ascend. Time for another 360 shot, where we were able to fly outside of the cable car and get amazing views. Santorini was named in the 13th century after Saint Irene, Santa Irini. The name Terra was used from the 19th century as the official name of the island and its main city, but the name Santorini is still used. Below is the remnant of the volcanic caldera. Calderas are formed by the inward collapse of a volcano. Santorini embraces the caldera. We're excited as we arrive with blue skies, a cool sea breeze offsetting the hot Mediterranean weather. Some fascinating sights already. We're expecting crowds. 1.5 million tourists visit every year. The population is only 15,000. Three cruise ships in today. I glance at the accommodations below and wish we were staying here a little longer. Santorini is famous for the whitewashed houses that cling to the cliffside and has many meandering paths and staircases packed tightly together throughout the town. The cable car was €6 each way. The blue skies and sunshine make it a remarkably beautiful place. The caldera, the cruise ships, and the white buildings set on top of the hills, which when viewed from below often look as though they're snow-capped, is certainly a magical place. First views from the top are spectacular. People literally just stand and take it all in. We've seen it in the movies. Let's see if it's true. So we take a stroll. Shops all over the place. The prices of drinks reflecting the location. High. There are many churches and chapels, and this is a popular destination for couples to get married. One of the great attractions of the place is that it's so different to any other place I've been. The tightly packed houses, few roads. We use staircases and alleys to get around and up and down and in and out. So interesting, attractive, intriguing. And plenty of al fresco cafes for a refreshing, expensive drink. We're making our way to the bus station that we may take a bus to Ia. When we arrive, Nate checks out how to get a ticket. We actually buy it as we get on the bus. €2. Well, we're on the bus to Oya, and I'm going to take some shots of the amazing sights there. Actually, Ia. That's a good shot. I thought it was on the... Here we go. This is a too close up shot. Indeed, an interesting bus ride, great views out of the window. So Nate and I have a chat. As usual, the topic being, let's come back here and spend a few days. The great dilemma of homeowners here is what color to whitewash my house. "20 minutes later, we're in Ia, ready to explore. At this point, I have to say, it did seem strange to be here with Nate only 1 month after I was here with Rachel. Why, you might ask? The reason is that the cruise I took with Rachel was so good. I wanted Nate to experience it, and he really wanted to visit the Greek islands. So I booked a cruise for us. My great disappointment being that on this cruise with Nate, the ship was unable to stop at the island of Mykonos due to high winds. The good news, I'll have to come back again with Nathan and visit Mykonos. So we began to walk from the bus station to the town. Interesting shops on the way, as usual. Residences either side of the alley. It's a fascinating walk and certainly unique. Not a cloud in the sky, and beauty all around. Many of the places here are used as Airbnb or small guest houses. The iconic blue-domed churches, ubiquitous. We met a couple looking for their Airbnb and were able to have a chat and help them. Thoroughly enjoyable stroll. At last we reached the town. The downside of a visit to Santorini is the fact that there are always crowds of people here. Magical still remains the best word to describe it. Peaceful, relaxing. I would just love to sit by a pool, enjoy the view and have a chat with Nate. Ia was previously known as Apanomeria, the upper side, a name which still occurs locally. The village is located on top of a hill at about 150 meters, 500 feet elevation, and is known here as the Eagle's Nest. But alas, it's time to return. But Nate, checking out our location, told me, "Dad, we're only 200 yards away from where the bus leaves." We had walked around the scenic route in a circle and were able to walk back to the bus in 5 minutes. I wish I'd known that when I was with Rachel. So back to Thera to explore a little more. After a bus ride, we walked up to the promenade. Nate wants to buy some gifts for the family.
Shopping.
Hopefully we find some good souvenirs.
Hotel Atlantis, reminding us there is conjecture that Santorini could be the lost Atlantis. It was certainly a Minoan settlement in 1500 BC, but historians have concluded that Plato's Atlantis is just a myth. The promenade providing excellent views over the caldera. the Candlemas Orthodox Cathedral of Thera, a beautiful building. The promenade is a favourite, the location of many restaurants and cafes and guest houses below. So back to the cable car, getting the last views of Santorini, and certainly wishing we were able to stay a little longer and enjoy the sunset, for which Santorini is famous. We are certainly feeling happy as we board the cable car. We've had another enjoyable day in this Greek paradise, making another memory. This is Dimitris and Tina, whom we met in Santorini, and we're going down. Fortunately not on the ship. So we board the tender which brought us over here this morning, and it seems like that was a week ago. Travel is such an adventure that one yearns to travel more, explore more. Nate and I always say we want to go somewhere we haven't been before. So don't dream about traveling, plan it. Don't spend your money on material things. Invest in moments and experiences. You can earn money, you can't buy time. So do it while you can. After a great day in Santorini, we arrived back on board and booked the beach house restaurant for a fillet steak dinner. Always a great treat. Crab salad, nachos, halibut and salmon to start, and a 10-ounce fillet steak that we cook to our liking on the stone. It's surf and turf that includes some jumbo prawns and a baked potato.
I
Believe me, it was delicious. A banana split for dessert. Then a walk on the deck in the moonlight. Next day is our final day, a day at sea. The usual morning coffee, then breakfast with a view. After that, we take a stroll on deck to enjoy the morning. Not a cloud in the sky, and many things to do. We can listen to a talk or just relax on the deck. This being a day at sea, we have lunch on board. Excellent food. Then another stroll to see what's happening on the ship. The Azura is an excellent ship. This, an Indian restaurant. I always enjoy the day at sea, but unfortunately because we missed our stop in Mykonos, we've had 3 days at sea this week, which was too much. We enjoyed the steak last night so much. We booked the Beach House restaurant again today. They had given us £300 on board spending, so we made the best of it. The next morning we docked in Valletta, Malta. Had a great breakfast. And then were transported to the airport, where we caught the plane back to London. I have to say, I wish I could have had longer in Malta. Nate and I came here a few years back and had a wonderful 4 days. It has been an excellent cruise. We thoroughly enjoyed it, and I really love the ship.